Hi, hello, my name is Zelthius. This is Shopkeep's Log. I am your fuzzy creature shopkeeper for the Dainsleif Retrotech Shop and Arcade. And I thought we'd give Forza another try for this. I honestly really like this game, despite it being a little more arcadey in its feel than racing sim. Today, we are driving the closest car I could find to my actual real-life car, which is this lovely Subaru WRX STI of the 2008 variety. I actually drive a '07 WRX wagon, which apparently are kind of rare. I wasn't super aware of that when I picked it up, but I mean, all Subarus are pretty much parts cars, so they just kind of, they're a little bit Lego-like in that you can mix and match parts from different models and years and whatnot, which is pretty cool. One of the few car brands out there that's actually like that. I think post 2018 they're a little more difficult to do that with, but generally speaking, from like 1995 all the way up till 2018, they're cars that are basically, you can just glue them together and they just kind of work. Yeah, they have their problems, but what car brand doesn't, you know? I personally really, really like the Subarus, and they've done a really great job with recreating this one. Anyway, before I go on a huge rant about cars, um, I've been thinking an awful lot about what I'm doing here. And I don't just mean like creatively speaking. We're gonna go inside the car and just kind of cruise while we're here, I guess. But like, what am I doing in life? I guess that's kind of a normal thing to think about when it comes down to it. And oh, of course, before I forget, I'm gonna keep not doing the baked-in subtitles for these, at least for now. Both because, 10 to 20 minute videos, and subtitling them is a lot of work, and really I just don't have it in me to do that right now. I've got a lot of other stuff going on, so, I'm trying to be nice to myself and not make myself do that. And also, since I'm posting these primarily on YouTube, YouTube's subtitle system is actually pretty solid. I do have to go in and edit things here and there every now and again. Whoops, overshot that. But, it is what it is. Overall, they do a pretty solid job, and, I don't know, it's just... I don't know. Part of me wants to keep these as raw as possible, too. And yeah, that is kind of just an excuse to not have to do the subtitles, but other stuff I still will be subtitling. It's not like I'm gonna stop subtitling Cassette of the Day or anything like that, but... I want to just focus on getting what's in my head out and not have to stress about that. Because if I'm being honest, the subtitles, that process was probably the part of it that I dread the most. Which is not to say that I dread doing this. I kind of do, because that's what happens when you're trying to just stream of consciousness, say whatever is going on inside your head, It's scary to be that open and vulnerable. I say that, like, every single time, I know, but it's true. Um, I've been making an effort as of late, speaking of mindsets, and I should probably not put my controller on the desk because you guys can probably hear the rumble through the microphone. I apologize about that. But I've been trying to, like, replace the way that I think about things in life. Because instead of this just being a scary thing that I have to do because I put myself in this rhythm, it's a means of sharing who I truly am with you all. So, yeah, it can be scary. I'm not gonna deny that, but I'm trying to think about it differently. It's not something that's truly scary so much as it is an opportunity for me to give you all kind of a peek behind the mask. The person that is Zelthius. And it's not like I'm shy about that on, like, stream or in anything else that I do. It's just that this is the kind of stuff that I don't normally get to talk about on stream, because not everybody wants to have a deep philosophical or emotional conversation. Some people come to watch streams to kind of get away from that. So, in a way, I guess this could be, like... I don't know, I don't want to call it trauma dumping, because it's not really that. I'm not talking about my traumas. I'm just talking about the day-to-day hardships and things that I think about and face as a person, as a content creator. It's kind of weird that it's that's like a separate thing. I should just say as a person, you know. But that's kind of sort of beside the point. Anyway, I don't know. It's strange to just kind of be a person and have thoughts and express those thoughts and feelings in this way. And a lot of people come to the live stream because they want to have conversations, just maybe not conversations like this, you know? We want to talk about our creative endeavors that we're engaging in. Writing, drawing, 3D modeling, music production, stuff like that. Whereas this is much more soul search, stream of consciousness. It's not so weird to have these thoughts, kind of thing. I guess it's a kind of way, like I was saying in one of the previous ones, like moto vlogging. The concept, somebody has a GoPro on their motorcycle helmet and they go out and ride around and just kind of talk about random stuff. And this is pretty much that. It's not really moto vlogging, because, you know, I'm not on a motorcycle riding around this area talking about just the random stuff that's going on in the world or anything like that. But it is the same concept of just kind of exploring the stream of consciousness and sharing what I think about things. And some people may not like that. Some people may find it very comforting to listen to somebody else who may also have similar ways of thinking, or, you know, maybe you don't agree with what I have to say, or it doesn't move you in any specific way, but you still enjoy listening to Fuzzy Creature yap just about random stuff while you're doing work or whatever. That's kind of the point of this for me. I get to talk about what's going on in my head and get comfortable with the person that I am. And y'all get to see the person that I am and get some free background noise, if that makes sense. So, you know, hopefully this provides value to you in one way or another. Not trying to say that I do this specifically for that point, but if it's a mutually beneficial thing, you know, you get your background noise ASMR or whatever, and I get a place to just talk about my stuff. Which I think I'm just kind of sort of just been repeating myself over and over and over again, but that's just how this kind of goes sometimes. Life has been an interesting experience as of late. I've gone through what I could only describe as bouts of anhedonia. I hope I said that word right. Sometimes I worry. But, you know, I just kind of hit a point where not even the stuff that I like to do was enjoyable to do anymore. And, like, I didn't really want to just, like, do nothing, but I didn't want to do anything in particular for a while, and I still kind of have that feeling. That was the weird headspace that I was talking about in the last Shopkeep's log. And I think that kind of marks a major milestone in my life, because this isn't the first time I've experienced something like this. And it probably, almost certainly, won't be the last, for sure. So, you know, I guess subconsciously I've hit that point of evaluating what parts of me get to survive this particular checkpoint. What connections do I take with me? What passions and hobbies and interests do I take with me? And I think maybe that's the reason why I feel so drawn to car games and mecha and stuff like that, because they're things that have always been staples in my life. Ever since I found out that there were anime about giant robots, I've been totally enamored. I've seen basically every single Gundam anime out there. I've seen a lot of not Gundam mech anime, like Armored Trooper Votoms or Full Metal Panic or things like that, you know? Evangelion, Gurren Lagann, so on and so forth. So, like, I feel like that's always been a core tenet of who I am, just really liking mechanical stuff. And I always get so emotional. I don't know how else to describe it about things. Like, hearing the sound of a really cool car, like the Boxer 4 that's in the Subaru, is enough to kind of make the eyes water a little bit. Not in a bad way, but, you know, like, it just wells so much excitement and passion within me that I just can't contain it. And so it kind of, like, comes out as, like, overwhelmed tears, I guess. It's kind of a weird way to put it, but, you know, I get so overwhelmed by it, and by its, like, immense ignition of passion within me that I can't help but weep a little bit, if that makes sense. Kind of the same thing when I first discovered a game called Elite Dangerous. I found out that it had VR support, and I had a VR headset, so, you know, oops, didn't mean to tap that. Car there, but, oh well. So I played it in VR, and of course, naturally, the first thing you do is you go to a high-intensity conflict zone in the game, and you sit around and listen to the comms chatter and watch the battle go on and hope, cross your fingers that you get a capital ship. And if you haven't seen what the capital ship warp in Elite Dangerous looks like, I highly encourage you to look it up. It is a spectacle. It is incredible to see. And, like, I legit cried when I saw that in VR for the first time. Even just thinking about it makes my eyes a little watery, but it's just, you know, that kind of stuff has always been of massive passion and intrigue for me, so I think there's going to be a lot more of that in the future. I think I'm going to return to that as the root of who I am. Just being incredibly passionate about video games and mechanical stuff, because that's always who I've been. And, of course, now that I'm older and seasoned by life, I have a lot of things to offer. And of course, I'm by no means, like, the most wise person ever, or, you know, some kind of sage or something. But, you know, I feel like I may have insight to offer that may be beneficial to other people. And that's part of the reason why I've started trying to put more kind of motivational stuff in the cassette of the day, for example. Because I'm learning that it's okay to be weird again, and I want for other people to experience the same thing, because it feels awesome to not just be stuck in that mode of judging yourself for everything, because it might be too weird for society. Because after a year of streaming, after all of the other stuff that I've gone through, all of the different jobs and relationships I've had, all of the different connections I've built and lost over the years, at the end of the day, the only one who has to be happy with who I am is me. And I realized that I wasn't happy where I was. Wasn't happy with who I was. And it wasn't because I was a bad person or anything like that. It's just that I had spent so long trying to be what other people wanted, or what I thought other people wanted anyway, that I didn't really recognize myself anymore. And if I can help other people start to... Oh, unfortunate. If I can start to help other people recognize themselves and rebuild that connection with who they really are on the inside, even if it is just by yapping about stuff for 10, 20 minutes, 2 days, then that's something that I want to do. I know what it's like to be in that spot where you don't really like who you are because you're not really who you are. And I don't want other people to go through that as much as possible. I know I'm bad at phrasing things here and there, but I hope you get what I mean. But if anything, if you resonate with this, you're not alone. Going through this, learning to be yourself again, and learning to like the person that you are again, isn't easy. And it probably won't ever be. But it's a choice that you have to make, to be okay with who you are. And if you don't like something, you have the option to choose to change it. You can always choose to accept or to change parts of yourself, even if it seems like an insurmountable task. And it takes practice. It takes a lot of practice. It's not something that you just do and then it's done. It's something that you have to be conscious of pretty much all the time until you don't need to be anymore. You catch yourself thinking a negative thought about yourself, then, you know, think something positive about yourself to balance things out. And eventually, over time, you start to learn to be a lot more grateful about what you have and who you are, and less frustrated and miserable with those things. Kind of an interesting thing. I think I'm at that, like, center point where I'm neither unhappy or happy with who I am. And I think some people would call that, like, stoicism or inner peace or whatever. Because when you're at that center point, you have balance. You can take the lows and you can roll with the highs. And come back to center and just kind of be. Anyway, before I get too off in the weeds with that particular line of thinking there, I realize it has actually legit been like 20 minutes of just me yapping, and I have no idea how the audio in this is going to turn out. I'm trying to get everything all, like, balanced there and figure out why my microphone keeps on, eating some of the words that I say. I think it's just because my gate noise, stuff is all I need to figure it out. Because sometimes I don't talk directly into my microphone, and, because the gate closes a little too fast. I'm still tuning that. It just eats up the beginning or parts of the sentence because I get a little too quiet. Which is why I've been talking a little louder as of late. And, you know, my audio is all over the place because, I don't have studio headphones. I have nice headphones, but they're by no means flat. And of course I have an EQ on my headphones, so they're not gonna be flat anyway. But that's besides the point. We've been going for like 20 minutes here, so, I think we should probably consider wrapping things up here. So, yeah. Thank you so much for sitting with me and listening to me yap about a whole bunch of random stuff and getting weirdly philosophical with things. I really appreciate your viewership, and hopefully you were able to find some value out of this. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.